Hi, Jason here with Handy Dad Home Solutions. Today I want to talk to you about patching your own walls. With everybody being at home now, there's probably a lot going on in your house. I mean, you probably got kids with sticks in your house now. Or maybe you're trying to hang some new pictures on the walls or rearrange the walls. And maybe you missed the hammer with that nail and dented the walls. Aww. Or maybe you're rearranging your house, moving some things around, some, a couch, a table, anything, and something nicks the wall. No! Let me show you how you can patch your own wall. All you need is some of this spackling. I like to use this on shallow, dense scratches. This is a time indicator, so it's pink when it goes on, and when it dries, it's white. It's awesome stuff. It dries fairly quickly, but you know when it's dry once it's all white. So when you have your spackle, get your putty knife. You want a small putty knife. So what you want to do, get a little spackle on there, and you just want to fill in these holes. Just push it in there. And it's good to have it built up a little bit so that you can sand it down to the wall. And when you go through edges, like gouges, you want to go with the gouge. So it pushes it in and it smooths it out against the wall. Just like that. And now, if you went with it, if you went against it, you would drop the putty knife would drop into the gouge and leave that divot there still. So you always want to go against it. You want to have that bridge across what you're puttying. Okay. Now that you repaired your damaged areas and it's all spackled, it's all dried, now you can sand it. So you take your sandpaper or sanding block and just go in circles lightly. Don't push. There's no need to push real hard. Let the sand do the work. Okay? So just do it nice and lightly. There you go. That's nice and smooth. Okay, that's sanding, but it does leave a mess. So, what if we're worried about that? If we're worried about that, then I would suggest doing what they call a wet sand. Now, all the wet sand is a sponge, and it's got a little like rough spongy on one side and a regular sponge on the other. This is a wet sanding sponge. So you want to make sure you have your bucket of water, wring it out. Don't have it soaked. There's no need to have it. You'll damage the wall if you have it too wet. You don't want it too wet. So now this is where you're going to have to use your judgment on areas that are semi-smooth that you did a pretty good job on. That can be used on the straight sponge side, and just lightly go over it, smoothing out any of those areas. Now, as you can see, this will wet the wall, so you don't want to do this too much. Okay? You don't want to get it too wet. You may have to stop, let it dry, go back to it. If you have areas that are a little more built out, a little more spackle on there, then you can use this side, which will sand it. Get that smooth. Okay, turn it around, use the sandpaper, or I'm sorry, use the sponge, and blend that right in. So that is sandless. Which, if you have kids, that's probably the best way to do this. I like to use the wet sand in my own house because less cleanup, it's less hazardous. Obviously, breathing this stuff in is not good if you're sanding. So if you are sanding and using the block, make sure you wear a mask, a respirator, something of that sort. A mask is not needed when wet sanding, so you'd be fine doing this. Once you have this all sanded, it's all dried, then you want to go over, make sure you go over your area with primer. Anytime that you patch or repair a wall and you use spackle, you want to prime that first and then go to your paint. So don't just jump right to paint. You want to prime that area first, okay? So I hope this helps, and I will catch you on the next one.